Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic House Non-Classic. This is episode number 27. No, it's going to be 29, 19, and Doubleshot number 28, 13. Got two books here featuring characters that, just by sheer coincidence, at some point written by Peter David. First up we have is also published in the 90s. We actually have first, you have Supergirl, Bizarro Supergirl. Yeah, and believe it or not, this actually was almost released after this one, but this trick got canceled. I will discuss issues later. But this book collects Supergirl, Volume 5, issues 53 to 59, and the second annual. And the last annual for this book, because 8 issues after issue 59 came out, with issue 6, 7, book got restarted. Yep. So, basically, the big thing with this book is that, well, Supergirl gets her own Bizarro Supergirl. Yep. We start out with basically with Supergirl beating up, with Guardian to beat up Atlas, codename Assassin, and Superwoman, Lois's sister. Yep. And it's all a dream because everybody's like dying. Yeah. Looks like Wixlook about to basically fry her own room. And we have Donna. We actually just like put together Mount Sphinx. The Sphinx again has been damaged between with Congorilla and Cyborg. Yeah, and of course Lana with her fake aunt, Lana with our fake niece Linda, aka Supergirl, and we see that Superwoman's been captured and being tortured. Yep, and then Dr. Light shows up. Yes, Dr. Light is, I swear this is the female Dr. Light, not the male one. The male one at this point is dead. He died in Final Crisis. He got turned into a freaking candle by the Spectre. Yeah, and of course we deal with the aftermath of the fall of New Krypton. And we're assuming, of course, the book ends with the debut of the Bizarro Supergirl. Yeah, that's the big thing about this book. It's like, okay, so Supergirl is gone. Bizarro, Supergirl, Jimmy Olsen is saving people. I think he's being a badass riding on a motorcycle. And then we see like Supergirl wearing like a championship. Oh, it's not a championship. What her cat is, it's like she's wearing a championship belt. Nope, it's a cat just laying on her belly. So they do this whole thing here of like, one thing in this book is Cat wants to get, Perry's attention, but realize she gets something else. She has something else going on, and then Supergirl apparently hides she has like a version of like her own basically her own dressing room when she's Supergirl, and it apparently looks like she wears a pink belt, a blue belt, looks like two pink belts, a red belt, and a gold belt. Interesting. And of course she fights Bizarro Supergirl. Yeah, and then of course she's turned to stone. Yeah, and the whole thing of her fighting her own Bizarro doppelganger. And Perry's on the phone with somebody. Actually, I think he's on the phone with Lois. Yeah. It's like, yeah, and it turns out she actually gets like a package from somebody. Of course, then we see like a flashback of looks like Dr. Light look like holding over basically Supergirl's mom basically standing over Reactron. And she punch her because he's got to take it back to Planet Bizarro. Yep, that's what she's doing. She's taking it back to Planet Bizarro. Which, of course, part of the planet is destroyed. Yes. Same way with habit of the space. Yeah, and, well, fight some creature here. And, oh, look, it's Bizarro. Yep. Yeah, Renette's basically basically a bizarre version of her cousin. And then, of course, basically we have her ship, basically this creature here, take her back to Earth. By the way, Earth is very accepting of her now, unlike before, because in the Krypton stuff she couldn't be on there because of some Kryptonians, like basically because some idiots in the comic version in the U.S. government, basically General Lane and his group, decided to be xenophobes and try to attack the Kryptonians because they dare be because they're stand against the United States. Like, think they're a threat, even though they're not really a threat at all. Yep. So yeah, story goes pretty well here. And the story gets wrapped up there in a nice little bow. Then we have Supergirl lead superheroes, which is basically her team with lead superheroes for an issue. Yep. Which I find that to be fun. Of course, reminiscent about various stuff happened with Superman. It's a great issue. Oh, yeah, her and Brainiac do a thing for each other, which is quite nice. I found this book here with a lot of fun. Then Day of Dollmaker. We call this little plot thread where we have Winslow Shot basically talking to Cat Grant. And he has no idea who the heck she is, because he has completely forgotten the fact that he murdered her son back in the 90s in the Superman 21 one-shot. Yeah. The kid's gone missing off this doll maker. They have this doll first pop up in issue 38. And it's follow up here in this two-parter. Yeah, it turns out it's done with basically Winslow's son. Yeah. Named Anton Schott. Who's just as bad as his father, except that he's not good father. And of course, Lois kind of in a way writes out for her sister. Is like, "What are you? What do you mean? My sister died. The Superwoman suit generally created. Our father, yeah, gave you the power. Supergirl damaged it, and you were exploding your vaporized. And came back. All the power inside of you, alien DNA gift you, Doctor like trying to get shipped out of you. Doing a super job. Look, appearance recipes. Now I can't look you in the eye and tell you something. What's that? You disgust me. What? My sister's bright. No, Lumicent, a wonderful girl. She always saw even worse, even at the worst. When she was temporarily blind, when it was only job she got as a flight attendant. When her father died, she said changing. Joined the military without honor him. But what's the point? What point does she stop being my sister to become this monster? Where's my dad, Lois? What a pitiful excuse. My sister would know that. Yeah, basically Lois just disowns her own sister. Yeah. And of course, Anton had to be a son to Cat Grant. And of course, he's like, says, how can you possibly think you replace my child? I don't know what kind of sister you are. You're not half the man my son would be like. Alright, you're wrong. And of course, basically, all about dolls. Screen for Supergirl. Yep. And say, like, Merry Christmas. And so you're here. I don't play nice with bad toys. And, well, gets rid of the thing. And of course, then we have Cap come up right behind him and whack him. It's like, this is for my son. He'd be your age right now. He'd be damn magnificent. Wow, TKO. Yeah, and she's like, yes, well, what you did I have, you're going to throw a punch. I don't have time to date. Cat, what was that about? This is Winslow Shott's son. He's a stir, but he's going to keep going on how he wants to be his. So, and of course, from the kids, they all let's get him home. And of course, they release an arc of the day of the Supergirl, and that's it. Very interesting set of issues. I thought these issues were actually really good. Yep. For a book that collects like 8 issues, it's really good. And by the way, I forgot to mention the writer here. This is all Sterling Gates writing this. With Jim Ingle, John Jamal Ingle, John Sebel, Bernard Chang, Matt Camp, Mark Rudy, John Dell, who I met, Mark Deering, Robin Riggs, and Richard Fink. Yeah, it's surprising that John Dell is the only person who worked on this. The compilation cover is Amy Reeder, Richard Free, and Guy Major. Great book. Give it a 9 out of 10. And can you believe we only have 8 more issues to go and then this book is done? Yep. Next so we have is Marvel Comic Sense, Wolverine, Volume 2. Yeah, these are collecting the Wolverine stories for, Marvel Comic Sense. Now, Volume 1 for the series had collected the first 10 issues, basically the Wolverine stuff. I had discussed this already in the first ever Wolverine Epic Collection. And for some strange reason, I do not know why this is, Marvel chose not to put the Marvel Comic Sense issues, any more of the issues, in the actual Epic Collection. I would have thought they would, but they didn't. This collects stories from 38 to 50. And they're all 10 issues. Yeah, you think, wait, 30 to 50, that's like 13 issues. But it's not a lot. It's not as thick. Because it's like 13, it's like 10 pages. These are your stories. Wolverine by Chris Claremont and John Buscema. Black Shadow, White Shadow, Mark Ruben, John Buscema. Life's End, written and drawn by Eric Larson. So yeah, the opening story here is basically, which they don't have the yeah, for some reason they don't have the opening issue. It's missing issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the opening story here is basically set during Black, White Shadow. This is set during Wolverine's patch days. Basically, it's him being patch. And that's kind of... Oh, it is in here. I guess the cover wasn't there. So, yeah. They put this here first for some reason. I'm not sure why. So, this is basically the Marv Wolfman stuff. Yeah, it's basically him on basically Manjapur, just auction in Hong Kong. So, it's a really interesting start here. And I do enjoy these Wolverine stories. Now, Wolverine actually left the book with issue 10. Just so basically a character has a chance. I guess maybe the book wasn't selling too well without Wolverine there. So they brought back issue 38. And he was there into issue 150. Yep, definitely indeed. So, yeah. The story gets wrapped up in this is issue number 41. Yeah. In like 4 issues, it's basically wrapped up this little fun story. Wolverine puts on his John Byrne costume. A costume I'm personally not a fan of. He's still called Patch, but they conclude... Actually, what that was in 42, they conclude the story. The story is like 5 parts. Yep, 5-part story. And then we have sort of a brand new... Actually, no, 6-part story. Okay. I guess 6 parts. Yeah, going... It's a lot of fun with this one. Next one's called Blood Craze. I guess it's 8 parts, so... Meet this weird guy sitting in this chair. This really overweight guy. Looks like he cannot freaking move. And apparently the White Shadow, Black Shadow Origins is chapter 8. Yeah. The whole thing is basically Wolverine going on a journey with Tiger in these issues. That's kind of what these issues are. So yeah, 47 wraps up the story. Yep, 47. So after 9 parts, they wrap up the story. And then, well, everything is wrapped nice little bow. And then we have issues 49 to 50 of this very book. Now, by the way, Mark Presents, those of you not bigly familiar with this title, though it was brought back about 5 years ago as a... Well, it was brought back to celebrate 80 years of Marvel. They brought it back for 9 issues, and Wolverine did have feature in the book. It was the 4th volume for the book. Yes. So, it's basically, it's a book where characters someone who don't have a series, they put them in here, have a serial, like a 12, sometimes 12-part feature. The book was published once every 2 weeks. Yes, it put out 2 issues a month. Anything 100% every Friday 5 issues. It was publishing about, like, it was monthly. This did go for a decade to publish. It was published in half that time. Yes, the 3-parter Wolverine. This was also presented as a one-shot. This has nothing to do with the original one-shot by Christopher Priest released back in the 80s. This whole thing is Wolverine briefly fighting Spider-Man. That was written by Eric Larson. Yeah, so this probably what gave Marvel the idea after this 3-parter. Hey, I guess that they must like this so much. Let's have him draw Spider-Man briefly before he leaves for Image. So they have a brief fight, and then of course have him fight off against these various thugs after fighting. Yeah. Yeah, Wolverine identifies one of them as like a former bully of his for these kidnappers. And by the way, this chubby guy here, that's not the Blob, that's somebody else. Yeah, like, you might think, now this guy here, his name is Finn. This is a prototype of Savage Dragon. Yeah, that's what I've heard him referred to as. He's referred to just Finn. But he literally is Savage Dragon, but basically, my guess, if he debuted him in this book, Marvel would clearly take away all rights to him. But, so you basically give him a mustache, other stuff, just make sure that this is Marvel exclusive. So you can keep the character because it's his character. So the guy with the hat who thinks he's the burglar. Yeah. Who is Peter's dentist. Yes, seriously. And the guy and the person attacking him with the claws. Yeah, and this panel clearly is a nod to Amazing Fans 15. I guess Peter goes on to his beautiful wife. And supposedly, also in this book, supposedly Wolverine is declared dead. That's thanks to the fall of the mutants, but he's like, I get that a lot, but good book. Love it. I do agree with the opinion that the 49 this Wolverine versus Spider-Man 3-part story from 4050 is not that good writing wise. I do love the artwork, but this group of people, they don't pop up again. But I'll give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. Yep. Excuse me, as a particular view, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and tune to the like button. Next up, My Hero Academia. See you. Bye.